And welcome back to another episode of Dogs on the Couch, where everybody's allowed to have an opinion. It does not matter if you played the game you are watching. So you're allowed to have an opinion as well. First and foremost, please like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe. It is free, doesn't cost you a dime. Not only that, helps grow the channel as well as push videos like these into the algorithm so that like-minded people may have a chance to view them also. One more thing, almost forgot. We set our first goal. We would like to reach 100 subscribers, and you personally can help us out by simply hitting that subscription button and becoming family. I would greatly appreciate it. Now with that being said, because I almost forgot, I'm so thirsty to get into the news because we've, forgive me, I've taken a little bit of time off here. Respectfully, reason being, couple things. First and foremost, um, football season has my youth football season has started back up again, and I was blessed with the opportunity to be coaching my son's team yet again, or should I just say, the team that my son is on currently. I wouldn't necessarily say his team, but I've been blessed with that, with that opportunity. So yes, that does take a little bit of time. You know what I mean? Drawing up plays, learning the kids, different things of that nature, take care of paperwork, all that kind of stuff. So forgive me. Um, I've been tasked with doing my real life sports things as well. So we got a lot of the major stuff out of the way for the beginning of the season. So I'll have a little bit more time to get back to you guys here on the platform. Um, the second reason that there was a small hiatus that had taken place here is because I was simply waiting on a major decision. Checked out, the World Cup. I was great entertainment, great sports entertainment, in my personal opinion. Nice to see uh, what could be considered a changing of the guard. Lionel Messi kind of gave everything that he had, man. Ended up coming up short, but it's not to say that he isn't fantastic and that he hasn't been for the duration of his career. But again, the topic at hand: LeBron James has finally made his decision. After what seems like a god awful eternity, he has finally decided where he would like to play basketball in, I guess the next 2 years, because he signed a 2-year deal from what we're hearing, from the reports from Shams, as well as, or the reports from Shams via Rich Paul. It sounds like it's a 2-year deal worth $8 million with a player option. And it is with the Philadelphia 76ers. Man, I was really, really, really looking forward to LeBron James announcing that he would be coming back to the Cleveland Cavaliers to not only finish his career, but to set his legacy in stone. So, really quickly, can't say really quickly because I do have to make sure I get all of my opinions out about this. And they are opinions. That's what they are. First and foremost, congratulations to LeBron for finally making his decision. He says that this will be his final decision. So presumably he would be retiring there, is what you would think based on what he said. LeBron also said that the decision wasn't about family, or location or any of those things. Apparently the decision was strictly about him wanting to compete, still having that drive, still loving the game, and most importantly, wanting to compete for a championship. And by his words, Philadelphia is the team that, has the best roster construction in order for him to complete said task, which would be win another NBA championship. So, before I get into my spiel, I would like to say, just based on the fact that I am stationed here in Cleveland, the same rules apply as long as I've been stationed here. One of the things I adopted from being born in the South and born in Florida, we always cheer for the home team. Okay, that's what you do. You cheer for the home team. Okay, I don't, we don't live in Florida and we cheer for people in Mississippi. Well, not people, but cheer for teams in Mississippi or Atlanta or California. We in Florida, we cheer for, we cheer for Floridians. That's just kind of what we do. So being as though I'm here in Cleveland, if I'm here in Cleveland, then I'm gonna try best I can to cheer for and support Cleveland teams. Now, sometimes it gets a little dicey because if I feel like a Cleveland team has gone too far off into the deep end, I'll just make a statement to say, hey, look, I'm gonna watch them because I love sports and this is where I currently reside, so I'm gonna watch that team, but I'm not gonna cheer for them. Okay, I did that with the Browns when they had Kevin Stefanski, and I said, hey, look, once I got my feel of Kevin Stefanski, I was like, hey, look, as long as he's the coach, I'm not cheering for the Browns. I'm gonna watch them, but I'm not cheering for them. Okay, because I felt like it's just too many boneheaded decisions being made. After this past season, tide turned. I feel the same way about the Cleveland Cavaliers now. I'm gonna watch. I'm definitely gonna watch, but I cannot cheer for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Two reasons. Number one, Kobe Altman, he needs to go. Especially after this. His decision making has been absolutely terrible, in my opinion, dating back to trading away Kyrie Irving. And then, last but not least, I've kind of soured on Donovan Mitchell, especially after his subpar performances in this past year's postseason, as well as the comments, after the postseason, supporting Kenny Atkinson and the fact that analytically we won a series that we lost in real life. Somehow Donovan Mitchell supports that. And then not only that, Donovan Mitchell gives us the spiel of how he won at life. That's great, Donovan Mitchell, but you winning at life has no effect on the Cleveland Cavaliers and or their fans. Their fans want to win basketball games. They don't necessarily care about the fact that you've won at life, because you winning at life and however many millions are in your bank account, you're not distributing that amongst the fans of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So respectfully, we don't care that you've won at life. Good for you, Donovan. What we're looking for is wins for the Cleveland Cavaliers basketball team. Those are the wins that we're interested in, okay? It's not to say we don't want to see you do good in your personal life. It's just that's not our priority the way that it is yours. Now that we have that particular portion out of the way, yes, I have some form, slight form of a bias. Because again, I'm stationed in Cleveland. So, slight form of a bias, but not in totality. Okay. So now that we got the context out the way, I believe LeBron, in my eyes, personally, has just ruined his basketball legacy. And now, let's be clear. I don't mean like, he's not who he is. LeBron is arguably the second best basketball player in the history of the game. However, this move that he just made, in my opinion, closed the door on any opportunity of him overtaking Michael Jordan at the number one spot. I felt like if he had come back to Cleveland, and then let's just say it was 2 years, if in one of those years he had won another championship for the city of Cleveland, and then, doing it in the latter stages of your career and everything like that, and then clearly you would be a key piece, to said championship. I feel like that would give you a stronger argument, a stronger case, as far as the GOAT, his return. Because like how, we say Mike won 3, retired, came back, then won 3 more. You could kind of use that argument with LeBron. LeBron made a promise to Cleveland, came back, won a championship, left, won a championship somewhere else, then came back to Cleveland and won y'all another championship. Like that's, so you could kind of have debates, arguments, solid ones. However, with this move to the 76ers, I don't see the same arguments forming. In fact, I see the same arguments that individuals like Charles Barkley, for example, would use as to why they don't consider him the GOAT. I see those arguments being brought back tenfold because you went to Miami to team up with Dwayne Wade after he had already won a championship. He had already won while you were in the league. So he had already won, okay? And he won with Shaquille O'Neal and a bunch of other hodgepodge of people. Jason Capono, who LeBron you had on your team and you can win with. So you had Jason Capono, James Posey, Jason Williams, Gary Payton. These are the guys that Dwayne Wade won with, okay? So Wade had already won, so you went there to team up with him and Chris Bosh. Pretty much 3 of the top 10 players in the league at that time, all on the same team together. One of them already won an NBA championship before you even got there. Then once you felt like people was getting too old over there, maybe Wade was a little too broken down over there, you plotting your next getaway. I don't want to stick around for the bad times. Let me plot my next getaway. Oh, let me go team up with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving. And then even when you teamed up with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, the team still wasn't good enough. You had to get Deion Waiters and a couple other guys shipped out of there so you get Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith here too. Then, ironically, now, shame on Kobe Altman, because maybe that we felt like LeBron was going to end up leaving anyway, but I'm pretty sure that once Kobe Altman made that move, it definitely put the stamp on LeBron leaving, okay? Considering the fact that he had won the championship, though, we kind of was, all right, farewell, LeBron. It's okay. We go ahead. Won us the championship, so we don't care. But when he leaves, has to go team up again. All right. Let me leave and go team up with Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard and Rajon Rondo, and the list goes on of players. You know what I mean? They ended up, then a couple of years later, they ended up dropping Melo through there and a couple of other people. Like, I mean, the cast of characters and stars and all-stars and all that stuff, people who will be in the Hall of Fame, like the list just goes on. Okay. And then what do you know? After that, with LA, because you was teamed up with Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, okay, you know what I mean? So after that run, you now decide to go team up with Joel Embiid, former league MVP, Jaylen Brown. This past season was in the conversation for league MVP, a former finals MVP, an NBA champion. I believe that was 2024 the Celtics won. So those are all the accolades that Jaylen Brown has. So you got a league MVP, a NBA champion, and finals MVP. Then you got Tyrese Maxey, who I believe was in the league, fifth in the league in scoring this past season. And then you got VJ Edgecombe, the guy who was third in voting for Rookie of the Year. I mean, how much you want to stack the deck? And then at one point when he was doing his fan fest stuff or whatever, and he was doing the stuff for his shows and all that, he was talking about how, his daughter or whatever would play a big part in his, decision of where he would play. But then come to find out in the end, well, Brian, you put up tweets to say, that your decision wasn't based on family, or none of the, or, some other things. It wasn't based on none of that. It's just based on, basically the fact that you still have the drive to play and that you want to compete at the highest level and give yourself the best chance to win another championship because you would like to, experience that feeling yet again. So, for the people who will say, well, if he ends up winning here, then, basically give him this, like this accolade that's just so amazing. Well, this will be the fourth team that he's won a championship for. And, they're already talking about how he would have won the championship. Well, I'm going to be honest, man, respectfully, if the 76ers do win a championship, it wouldn't be LeBron winning them the championship. Okay, because they love to do that with they try not to do it with the Heat. They try to add the context, and one of the reasons being is because Dwayne Wade had already won the championship before Brian got there. But the Cavs championship, they love to make it seem like LeBron won that championship by himself. Like we wasn't watching Kyrie get absolutely busy the entire series, pretty much. He might have had one game where it was maybe a little off. But every other game, Kyrie was absolutely outstanding. Not to mention he hit one of the most clutch shots in NBA Finals history. Game 7 on the road. After a solid 2.5 minutes of basketball where nobody scored. Nobody. Neither team scored. And then who do we draw the play up for? Not LeBron James. We draw the play up for Kyrie Irving. That's who we draw the play up for. Get a ball to Kyrie. That's what we did. We didn't give it to LeBron. Okay, Kyrie makes the shot, and then what do? We talk about LeBron's block. That's what we talk about. And I argue with people so heavily, like, okay, even if Iguodala does make the layup, that's 2 points. Kyrie Irving hits a 3. Last I checked, in analytics and in real life, 3 is better than 2. So even if Iguodala did make that layup, Kyrie hits the 3, we're still up 1. Mind you, LeBron ended up going to the line on that dunk that he almost had on Draymond Green and then hit one of the free throws. So now we're up 2 instead of just being up 1. Warriors don't score, so that means we win the game. Whether LeBron makes that block or not, we win the game. Sorry. But again, they love to make it seem like LeBron won that championship by himself. Same thing with the championship in LA when Anthony Davis was just balling out of his mind. That was the last that we saw of the real Anthony Davis. Like the real Anthony Davis, not Anthony Street Clothes Davis, not him. That championship was the last that we saw of the real AD, the real Anthony Davis. Balling out of control, balling out of his mind. Him really being him as an Anthony Davis. But again, we love to make it seem like LeBron won that championship all by himself. And so you mean tell me y'all gonna try to paint that narrative again if he win over here in Philly? No, if you win over here in Philly, man, you was riding people's coattails, okay? You riding the coattails of an MVP of the league, a top 5 scorer in the league, a NBA champion and former finals MVP from a couple years ago. Like, you can't make this stuff. And then who knows what else will happen with the roster construction? Who has any idea? Quick side note. While I'm talking my talk about LeBron, let me mention this about the Cavs and Kobe Altman. One of the things that Shams Charania had mentioned as a part of, LeBron James going to the 76ers, he said that the Sixers weren't even on the radar until acquiring Jaylen Brown. If I'm not mistaken, there were reports that, the Boston Celtics were interested in trading Jaylen Brown for Evan Mobley. Now, we kind of understand why, we hold on to Evan Mobley. We get that. Don't get me wrong. Like, we kind of get that. However, if I had the opportunity, and I talked about this in the last video that I did, where I said we fumbled Jaylen Brown, because we did. We fumbled him. I would have preferred a package with Donovan Mitchell to get Jaylen Brown. But for all intents and purposes, if trading away Evan Mobley for Jaylen Brown would have landed me LeBron James as well, then I'm pulling the trigger. Kobe Altman. Yeah, I'm going to pull the trigger on that one. Because I like Evan Mobley. I really do. I like Evan Mobley more than most people do. Other people want Evan Mobley to evolve into this unicorn of a player. Me, I think Evan Mobley is perfectly suited at what where he is. And I just feel like if we just put more emphasis on his game the way that it is, instead of trying to make him this ball handling on the perimeter, 3-point shooting guy, when I just feel like if he stay around the mid range and then only shoot the wide open threes when they come, not really trying to handle the ball on the perimeter. That's what you got all these guards for. You got all these guards on your team, but you want Evan Mobley bringing the ball up the court and dribbling it on the perimeter. That's stupid. Doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. So much as, I'm like, all right, I see Evan Mobley and I like Evan Mobley. If I got a chance to turn Evan Mobley into Jaylen Brown in 2 more years of LeBron James, bye-bye, Evan Mobley. I'll see you, buddy. Yeah, because even once LeBron is gone, I still got Jaylen Brown. And I'm looking at much as, the potential for Evan Mobley and his ceiling and all of that. Jaylen Brown is an NBA champion and a finals MVP. If there's anything that I feel like could be, worthy compensation for Evan Mobley, Jaylen Brown would be that. He would be. I believe he's, brings a certain level of culture, identity. He's a two-way player. Most importantly, he's a wing. One of the positions that you're just absolutely depleted at. And now that you don't have Jaylen Brown and you put all your eggs into the LeBron James basket, well, the Cavaliers, in my opinion, right now are so much of an afterthought that it's absolutely ridiculous. And when they signed Jonathan Kuminga or whatever other middle-of-the-road jag that they're going to sign or whatever they plan to do, it's going to amount to absolutely nothing. It's going to be yet another season of disappointment is what it's going to turn into. So I do want to point that out. Cavs really fumbled and dropped the ball there. Again, I feel like this thing with Kobe Altman and his affinity and loyalty to some of his draft picks or certain players, like a Dean Wade, those kind of guys, as well as Kenny Atkinson. Because Kenny Atkinson could have been another reason that LeBron didn't necessarily want to come back to Cleveland. Because from the reports, again, Nick Nurse was having extensive conversations, with LeBron. And, whatever viewpoint you have of Nick Nurse, I don't think Nick Nurse would ever make a statement, being down 3-0. I don't think Nick Nurse would ever say, well, analytically, we won 2 out of the 3. Respectfully, I don't think LeBron views a coach who would say something like that. LeBron's basketball IQ is out of this world. So, to hear a coach say something like that and that kind of be the thing, it's like, now if I'm LeBron, I got to look at it like, do I really want to play with a guy who talking about analytically we won when we really lost? I don't know if I want to do that. And it didn't really seem like Kobe Altman wanted to move off of him because they hurried up. No time. They're like, oh, no, we're not moving off Kenny Atkinson. We love Kenny. Kenny's going to stay. So if I'm LeBron, I'm looking at that. I don't know, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of could have been one of those things. And maybe LeBron could have been like, well, hey, look, I'll come back, but Kenny got to go. I know you already said, you know what I'm saying? So, but maybe we could pull like a David Blatt thing, we're like mid-season. We just can, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want it. And Kobe Altman was probably, well, I mean, he's the coach, and LeBron, if you're gonna come here, you're gonna have to deal with that, and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? And Kobe Altman, that's why you need to get up out of here, bro. I'm tired of you. You and Kenny, y'all need to go. All right, and you take Donovan Mitchell with you. I ain't gonna even hold you at this point. Like Donovan want to talk about how he won at life, and we trying to win basketball games. But back to LeBron. I really think that this puts a major stain on the tail end of his career as well as his legacy, because they love to use his age. They do it. It's a double-edged sword, if you ask me, because they love to talk about how great LeBron plays at this age, but whenever LeBron falls short, they say, "Well, he's 41. I mean, he's 4. What do you expect?" Well, my thing is this, though. I can't in one breath praise how darn good he is at 41, but then not have any expectations of him winning. Well, if you so darn good, then the fact that you 41 shouldn't matter, because you so darn good at 41. So if I'm going to praise you for being so great at 41, well, look here, look at how great you are. Yes, I expect you to win. And I expect you to win a championship, because look at how great you are. I can't say, well, he's so great, but then when he don't do good, but he's 41. Well, which is it? Which one is it? Is he super great, or is he 41? So we shouldn't expect anything. Because if he's 41 and we shouldn't expect anything, then let's temper the praise a little bit. Let's die that down some. Let's be like, yeah, he doing phenomenal, but hey guys, we gotta remember he's 41. So we shouldn't be expecting anything of him. He's 41. Okay? But if you want to talk about how phenomenal and great he is, oh, look at all this stuff that he's doing at 41. Okay, well then if you doing all this other stuff at 41, why you can't win no championship then at 41? Why not? Why can I not have that expectation of you? So same thing, especially now that you go into, because this month, if you had came to Cleveland, might not even really been no expectations of a championship. Who would really care if you ended up winning the championship here or not? It would just be great to see you in Cleveland balling. That's just like, it wouldn't even matter if you won a championship or not. You over here to Philly, first of all, them Philly fans is unforgiving. It's known it's known nationwide. They booed Santa Claus. So to think that they not going to have expectations of greatness, of you winning the championship, I believe that they're going to have expectations of winning the championship, especially now we got Joel Embiid, we got Jaylen Brown, we got the VJ Edgecombe, we got the Tyrese Maxey, and we got LeBron James pencil us in for the championship. Why ain't we winning the chip? Why aren't we? We winning the chip. That's how you got to feel if you a Philadelphia 76er fan. Oh, we winning the chip, baby. We better. And if we don't, LeBron, what we do all, like, I don't understand what you come here for then, bruh. What you come here for then? Because, if I'm not mistaken, the last team to win the championship the year that they was just thrown together, I think was the Boston Celtics with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. I think they won that year they were put together. I don't think it took till the next year. I could be wrong though. It could have took them that 1 year. I do remember it took, LeBron and Miami, obviously, that 1 year for them to go ahead and be able to, accomplish, that feat. So there may be a repeat of that, to where, it may take a year with the 76ers. It might not necessarily just, boom, equate to a championship, because one of the things that's been underrated when throwing teams together like that and just, stockpiling stars, they have to figure out how to play with one another. They have to learn how to play with one another. Now, LeBron is really great at fitting in seamlessly for the most part. However, Embiid needs the ball. Tyrese Maxey was just, bumped up to the number 1 option last year, where he flourished. Jaylen Brown clearly was having issues over there, with the Celtics because he felt like, what, look, I showed that I could be the man. So why can't I be the man? You know what I'm saying? But y'all looking at Jason Tatum, you know what I'm saying? I could be the man. I could be the man. Let me show. I just showed you. I was in the MVP conversation. I could be that. I could be that dude. So you got three people that essentially, number one, they're gonna need the ball, and then two of the three people just spent the previous season being the number one option. LeBron came out and voiced how he wasn't necessarily, he was for the first time in my career, I had to, back up to the number 3 role, but then was thrust back into the number 1 role. And then he admitted that it felt good to be back there. So who's going to take the back seat to who? Not only who's going to take the back seat to who, are y'all going to stay healthy? Is Joel Embiid going to stay healthy? LeBron, are you going to stay healthy? So those are major questions. But again, like, grand scheme of things, man, I feel like this is the ultimate, like, ring chasing thing. Like, I mean, you ring chasing at this point. Like, what are we doing? You ring chasing. And this is my thing. If this was something where, let's just say you had spent your whole career in Cleveland, only ended up winning, let's say, 2 championships here. And now you're 40 something and you're trying to, ring chasing. Cool, no problem with it, man. You old. You spent all your career in this spot right here. Actually won a championship, man. Go get you some more rings if you can. Chase them. It's fine. Even if he had did the Cleveland to then Miami and then back to Cleveland and then over there. Okay, I can understand that too. But bro, you Cleveland to Miami, then back to Cleveland, then to LA, now over there to Philly. That's a whole lot of ring. You've been ring chasing ever since Miami. You started ring chasing then. You've been ring chasing ever since then. Stacking teams. And to this point, you got 4 rings. So all the ring chasing and team stacking that you've done, and you come away with 4 rings, is what you got. Like, this is like it's like, to me, as if Jordan, instead of playing for the Wizards, if Jordan was like, let me go team up with Shaq and Kobe. It look like let me go over there. Let me go get with Shaq and Kobe and and we're going to find one more to join us over there. If Mike had went over there with Shaq, Kobe, when they had Gary Payton and when they had got Gary Payton and Karl Malone, and Jordan was like, let me go over there and team up with them. Like, what? Jordan would never. He would never. Jordan would never. Yeah, let me take the league minimum and go over here and team up with Shaq and Kobe and Gary Payton and Karl Malone. Let me go team up with them. No, I'm sorry. Like, this is absolutely insane. And, again, if there's ever a narrative that's painted, like if he ends up winning over there, if they paint that narrative like LeBron won the championship, I am going to go crazy. I'm going to pull the rest. Because I'm already starting to lose hair and this going gray stuff. I'm just going to get to pulling it out at that point, because you got to be kidding me. LeBron was riding coattails at this point. Like, is what he about, that's kind of what he about to be doing. Is riding the coattail. Unless, of course, Embiid goes down with another serious injury like he always does. And then you're forced to carry more of the load. But even still, if you get a healthy Embiid in the playoffs and throughout the playoffs and through the finals, it's like, well, I mean, again, like, bro, you had a stacked team. Like, what are we, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you expect? What are we doing here? What is this? And not only that, but worst case scenario, let's say he fails and doesn't win a championship in either of these last 2 years. To me, that's even more of a stain on the legacy. Because how did you stack a team like this and still not win? When the basketball savant himself, one of the highest basketball IQs in the history of the game, he himself said that this is the roster that gives the best chance to win an NBA championship. You yourself said it, LeBron. So if you can deem that to be the best roster for you to win an NBA championship, pick and choose to go there. And you already said it's about nothing else. You took the vet minimum and convinced your family, nah, it ain't LA. And then we gonna go back east. And when we go back east, we ain't going back home. We going to Philly. You do all that and then don't win. To me, that looks that looks wild. That looks crazy, man. You did this super ring chasing and then don't even come up with a ring? That would be absolutely ridiculous. Like, how could that not be something that's talked about, similar to how we can't help but talk about the Dallas Mavericks series in 2011 and how he fumbled that ring? So, in the grand scheme of things, to sum it all up, man, I personally don't like the decision. And it isn't just because I'm based here in Cleveland at the moment. That's not it. I'm looking at it like, buddy, how many teams do you want to stack? How many times are you going? I've said this before. This is going to be the first time I said it on this podcast, though. LeBron is the first and possibly only guy in the history of the NBA to basically play my player on 2K, but in real life. My player in 2K, you can just do all this wild stuff. You win 2 championships over here. You know what? I don't like playing with them no more. Who else in the league? You know what? I think I want to go play with let me go play with Anthony Davis. And let me go over there with Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard and bring in Rajon Rondo, sign him off. Let me go do that. Then once I'm done with, you know what? I think I like Joel Embiid. You know what? Maxey looked like he was hooping. You know what? Let me go team up with them. And then actually do it. Like, actually be able to do it. Like, that's one thing that I give LeBron. One thing that all the stuff I just talked about LeBron, the one thing I give LeBron credit for, LeBron James is the only player to pull off that teaming up crap. It's been a bunch of other. KD tried it with Phoenix. He tried it. KD tried it in Houston. He tried it with the Brooklyn Nets. It's been a bunch of pieces and players and teams that have tried that we about to team up stuff. Russell Westbrook and Paul George and Melo and OKC. It's been a bunch of, ever since LeBron started it, it's been a bunch of, we just go team up together when we in our primes. And then that should win a champ. And the only person to ever be able to win championships out of that teaming up crap is LeBron. LeBron is the one who has executed that teaming up crap and actually won championships with it. Nobody else was able to do it. Nobody else was able to do that crap but LeBron. He was the one that was able to do it. And I'm talking about, since LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Because, Boston was, they was in the backside of their careers, man. They had all spent years in their respective cities before they got together, for the, like, hey, we only got a couple years left of our career, man. Let's spend it trying to win championships. But as far as like that teaming up in your prime thing, with the LeBron started, LeBron was the only one to do it and execute and win. LeBron is the only one to do that. Everybody else tried and failed miserably. So, oh no, man, no, I do not like the decision. I think it just, solidifies him as, a person who stacks the deck. I don't really see any other way to look at it. And not only that, now that the deck is stacked, I'm not giving any passes. Like, I think I heard Michael Wilbon, try to start giving passes on people when they talk about legacy. This is not about legacy. LeBron, if LeBron says that he don't want to play tomorrow, then his legacy is I mean, I agree. If he decided to not play tomorrow, his legacy would be stamped. It would be. But it would be stamped as what we all know it to be. Okay? Which is, you hopped around, you teamed up, you ended up with 4 championships, which means Steph Curry got one more than you do. Possibly, the second greatest basketball player of all time, all that kind of thing, everything, legacy is stamped. It's a heck of a legacy, man. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm not frowning at it at all. LeBron, give you your flowers. In fact, one thing that I say often a lot about LeBron is we don't have once LeBron does decide to be done, oh my gosh, man. Now, I mean, Victor Wembanyama has seemed to breathe some life, into what could be the future of basketball. Only problem is, Wembanyama's from France. You know what I'm saying? So, at that point, we lose we've had the American, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, all American players. So, there is no next guy. The next guy would be Victor Wembanyama. He's from France. So my thing is we haven't had that other LeBron. There hasn't been the next LeBron, the next person that we compare to Jordan. We haven't been blessed with that. So when LeBron does decide to hang it up, there's going to be that void that's left to fill. Who is the guy that we compare to Jordan? And I mean, not just throwing it out there like the Harold Miners of the world, where we just so thirsty to try to compare somebody to Jordan that we just pick a random dude because he jump high or something like that. It's like, nah, somebody that you can legit be like, oh, wow, could this guy be better than Michael Jordan? Man, LeBron has spoiled us with that for going on 23 years now. Going on 23 years now. LeBron has spoiled us with that, man. I give him credit for that. But again, in the grand scheme of things, man, when it's all said and done, like, buddy, I really do think this is a huge hit to your legacy, man. Because as great as you are, I can't overlook this. This is weird to me, man. This is extremely, extremely weird to me. Like, this is the epitome of ring chasing. This is the epitome of let me stack the deck. I don't get it, LeBron. I really don't. And it's not for me to get. You know what I'm saying? I'm the furthest thing from LeBron. So, it ain't for me to get. I'm just an MFR on the couch. But I'm allowed to have my opinion. And in my opinion, LeBron, this is a huge stain on your legacy, my man. The only way that, in my opinion, that this don't become a stain on your legacy, you got to win back-to-back. Now, if you win back-to-back championships over there, every word that I just spewed, I eat it. Yep, every word that I just spewed, I eat it. If you win back-to-back championships over there, and like Charles Barkley said on Stephen A's podcast earlier today, if you win back-to-back championships over there, Brian, and then you get up to 6 and you got all this other stuff, even though you was jumping around and stacking the deck and all that other stuff, I might be like, you know what, you to go, bro. I might just be like, you know what, yeah, man, I think it's time to say LeBron is to go. 6 championships, done won a championship with 4 different teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, all-time leading scorer, all this other crap. Like, I might be like, hey, man, all right. Because I got a chance to watch it from start to finish, the same way that pretty much, not the entire way, with Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like, not the entire way. I didn't see the very beginning of Mike. But I just might say that you go to that point. But you got to win back-to-back. But without that, Brian, looks crazy to me, man. Like, this is just the wildest thing that I could have imagined, and it wasn't on my bingo card, man. So, needless to say, the very first game, well, outside of the Knicks, because they're going to have to be the first game because I got to get their championship rings or whatever. But that game should be first. The very next basketball game that's played, which is going to suck because that's going to be probably two Eastern Conference, East Coast games or whatever. But it has to be the Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers. That has got to be the game. It's got to be. Especially as Adam Silver was talking about, he had to wait on LeBron before he could, make the schedule out for the season. LeBron, all eyes on you, dog. And man, I'm pretty sure the city of Philadelphia is going to be looking at championship. Other people might say, oh, it's not championship or bust. I bet you the fans of Philadelphia don't feel that way. And I don't feel that way either. with all of the moves that you made, LeBron, and the way you stack this deck over here, buddy, it is championship or bust. Let's see if you win. Dogs on the couch, signing off.